So NRCS has been, one, a great resource of knowledge, and then also has been a great resource in getting these projects, kind of help us fund them and get them in the ground.
The unique thing about this ranch is the incorporation of the worm tea and the chickens to help microorganism and soil health on rangeland that you typically do not see just on rangeland for a cattle operation.
We run our cattle, we move them every single day with a very intense rotational grazing. We move them based off of how much forage is in that area rather than a time set. And then 2 to 3 days behind the cattle, we move the chickens. They go through that manure, they spread it out. They really kind of help with the fly control as well as grasshoppers or any other pests. And then we have worm tea, which is basically just, we have a big bin of earthworms, about 100,000 earthworms. We use their castings, brew it in a water, and it creates a fertilizer, an all-natural fertilizer that puts the microbes directly back into the soil and really giving that soil a boost that it needs.
The management intensive grazing is truly just that. It's management intensive. You've got to spend time walking a pasture. You can't just drive by and see. You know, when 60% of your grass has been taken a bite out of, you don't want to leave the cattle there long enough to take a second bite. And as that grass starts to grow, especially in the green up part of the year, that's exactly where the cattle are going to go. Well, the second that second bite happens, that plant's been overgrazed.
With their goal of soil health, they have incorporated the practice of worm tea as well as chickens. That is something that's very unique for this area. They're the first ones that I know that we do any of those kind of practices here. And having that to where they're going to put microbes back into the soil so that they can increase that exponentially in a very short period of time. That's something that we don't see around this area at all.
We're really driven to get those microbes back and healthy, and then we put cattle across the ground, but then we needed to break up the cow pies. And so having chickens and eating the fly larvae out of the manure and the list goes on. You just kind of this very complex system of nature taking care of nature.
It's real nice to be working with them, having their goals in place and having a direction they want to go to help them utilize to meet those goals with NRCS conservation practices.
They've really allowed us to jumpstart with clearing the trees, putting in fence lines, putting in water lines, and making moving the cattle every day much easier, because it can be very labor intensive when it comes to having to move animals every single day and having the water proper for them as well.
It takes time. It is not a, hey, I'm going to throw something out and in 6 months I'm going to have really tall green grass. It's restoring the health of the soil. That it's really 7 years after you start that you really get the response.
The thing is, when Jim and Stephen came with me with this idea, their research and the knowledge they have on this system gives me hope that they are going to be successful on doing these practices.
You know, I'm very blessed that I get to work with my dad every single day, and I think that he and I make such a great team.
Well, having my son in it means that we're not only going to get that first 7-year response, we're going to get the next 7-year response and the next 7-year response. And I'm really proud that it's what he wants to do. He sees it as the right thing.